video is for veterans out there who, I hope this is not your situation, but my situation would appear that I was set up to have poor quality of care, health care. Oh, it's kind of shiny there. My nose isn't running. That's stuff like a Vicks, a kind of Vicks, to try to help keep my airways open, in addition to all my meds. Because anybody who has a CPAP, this is a side note, if you have a CPAP and your nose is, clogged, and you have a sucking sensation while you're sleeping and it wakes you up, you need to clear your nasal airway. That's what causes that sucking sensation that wakes you up. But anyway, I was set up to, first of all, like I said, to have poor quality of care medically. Even when I've asked for particular providers, after I looked into their background, these are external consults outside the VA. Actually, we're even internal. I've looked at people's backgrounds and such, and I've asked for people. I've never gotten them. The last time was Tri-City Urology. I asked for one particular doctor because his background, I looked into it and I was happy with it. Instead, I was given to another doctor who, I don't want to reflect on somebody's business, but I will say that my experience, I will speak that what happened to me is he was very rough, he was very abusive. You could call it medical rape. I don't know what was going on, because I was getting an exam, so it was behind me, a prostate exam, and it was very abusive. And this is after arguing with me about my symptoms, saying they're no big deal, saying everybody has cysts. I said, but 5? He said, well, I don't see any evidence of that. I'm like, well, it's there. Read your documentation. And he said, well, I don't have it in front of me, so I doubt. I mean, he just argued with me. And he said, oh, I'm not concerned. I said, well, what about all the pain that I have? And he said, oh, well, I don't see anything. I have my doubts because I don't see anything in front of me. And I'm like, I'm not making this up. And anyway, so and then he went outside and acted like we were friends. It was a predatory situation. Anyway, at that place, the doctor that I wanted, hands down, and his Google reviews are all positive. It seems that like some of the office staff are the problem. That's the biggest complaint, other than a couple of situations with the provider. My provider included, he's one of them, my former provider, my former urologist, abusive situations. But the doctor that I wanted, that I requested through the VA, and between the VA community care and the front office at this clinic, I was given the bad one. And they said, it's because it was more urgent. Well, if it was urgent, how come the doctor didn't have the evidence? And why was I given the abusive doctor who wanted to just run tests, some of the same stuff all over again, and treated me like treating me like I was a Munchausen's. And anyway, so that's just one example. If you follow this channel, you know of several examples where it would appear that I was set up, through the VA or my community care providers, the ones in the community, to not receive good medical care, to have a very poor standard, to be humiliated and to be ignored, and, to only treat something, if they treat anything at all, it's only done, just to look, like they're doing something. But in actuality, when you step back, in a non-obtuse manner, and you look at everything going on with my care as a patient, you'll see nothing's moving forward. And when I do have a complication for this or for that, nothing's done about it. It could be something as simple as the people supposed to be giving me an MRI refuse to give me air. They refuse to give me forced air. And they say, oh, we don't have those resources, or outpatients can't get oxygen or forced air, stuff like that. And so things get worse. I was supposed to have another MRI of my kidneys and my groin area over a year ago. Actually, we're over a year. But I get one hassle after another. I get passed around. So, then we can't forget the liver. I have to go get another ultrasound, but when I suggested an MRI, because the ultrasound they're giving me is the same one that I've had twice already, I was denied. They said, no, only if we see fluid, fluid around the stomach, duodenum, kidneys, and pancreas. There's fluid, ascites, then we'll do an MRI. Anyway, so because MRIs, as far as showing, fibrosis or, damage to the liver, fatty deposits, cirrhosis, non-alcoholic, possibly non-alcoholic, what is it? Steatosis? Hepatic steatosis, I think. Forget my medical terminology sometimes. But anyway, MRI is the best, or second to that would be a CAT, but a CAT scan. But you're denied because you don't have an MD or a DO or a PhD or an NP or a PA, so you're denied. So anyway, that's just one example. And then the places that we're pushed, we're surrounded by racial extremists, people that don't like us because of our skin color, because I'm a single father, because our religious choice, and they bully the hell out of us. They don't like who we support, stuff like that. And we're surrounded by sex addicts, drug addicts, and people of very questionable, backgrounds. It's obvious that you're being set up very bad, You're being set up for harm for your family. You're being set up to possibly, because you have very few connections, in a social network to help you get on your feet, to help you get financially secure. And they even try to as much as they can, interfere with your transportation. That way it's harder for you to have a faith community, except one that they choose, which comes into your complex. They try to push it. They try to push you into a life with no faith, no hope. If you do have some kind of faith, as I said before, it's a religious community that they choose because they already come into your place. Try to push you, even into addiction. You're exposed to more sex addicts and drug addicts than, or, fanatical people in rehab that are fanatical in one way or another. People very unstable because their rehab is not genuine. People try to make an addict out of you too. And these are your resources. They're not resources at all. They're hindrances. And they can't forget that they, try to sabotage your disability case as much as they can. And they even eventually get it canceled. And if you want to take them to court, it's very difficult because they refuse to give you your claims documents. They refuse. If you're in that situation, you're really set up to fail. And then if you have children in the middle of this, your children are going to suffer a lot. My suggestion is you try to find the right person in power. Find a genuinely, not somebody just for face value, a politician, not some state senators will get involved, some not, some state reps, some not. Get somebody who has political power or judicial power to genuinely look into your situation and investigate or prosecute people. That's my suggestion. Or somebody that oversees an agency, a genuinely interested ear, not somebody that just wants to look good. Or somebody, I've had somebody pretend they're from a senator's office, but actually they have a connection to the VA. They're trying to protect the VA. So that being said, don't accept that this is your path. I always try to find different ways to change the situation. I can't accept that this is our Lord's plan for my family. If it is, then I'll be like Jacob and struggle and wrestle and fight for the blessing for my family.